I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, April the 5th, brought to you in part by Joplin Regional Stockyards. Just 5,500 head expected for the regular Monday sale here, but 25 loads of yearlings in the mix. So be sure and get on to dvauction.com and view and bid that sale if you're interested. Also coming up here on Wednesday, April the 7th, regular cow and bull sale, of course, at 9 o'clock in the morning, but then special cow and bull sale with a lot of replacement type cattle there at 4:30 in the evening. So be sure and mark your calendar for that. It was a Good Friday, and it was Good Friday literally, but also it was a Good Friday to get business done. It's one of the few days, business days of the year that you can still do your cattle business and the board was closed. And on top of that, we got first notice day here this Monday right here. So there was a lot of things taking place, and your feedlots were able to get another buck or two on top of what they already had gained last week. So it was a good deal. So that was a blessing in itself right there. But of all the juking and jiving that they did there kind of mid-late week there, especially in the north, just kind of maneuvering. It was kind of like one of those coconut games, where they keep moving it around and they're flashing prices, and then they get up there kind of close to what guys are wanting, then they back up and say, no, let's go back up to your core market price, and then I'm going to give you some kickers on a grid deal, or maybe I'm not going to take them for 3 weeks, kind of when we know we're in light numbers right now, and the market's kind of on the upswing. But not on Friday. I tell you what, guys wanted more money, and your packers hadn't bought near enough cattle, and they wanted more cattle on Friday, and they paid up for them. And the only reason it was able to happen is because the board was closed. Likely your board could have been worked lower on Friday, and then guys, then the basis would have come into play, and then guys would have started puking cattle. But since the board was closed, and the latest close we had on your spot April was right at 120, guys wanted 120. And so we ended up getting some 120. We got some 120 and a half. We even got some 121. Would have never happened had the board been open. So it was a good day to make hay, and we got that done, and it was a good Friday, like I said. I tell you what, cost of gains are really becoming the primary focus point right now. You can pretty much figure you're going to have a cost of gain of $1.20, $1.25 if you've got cattle that are going on to feed here right about now. So that's a lot higher than what we've been used to. The last several years we've been more used to something around 80 cents, but not now, not with the way your grains have gone up so much, and just the inflation that we've seen just in the last few months, let alone the last year. But since the Biden administration has come in, he's cramped up regulations and things, and the inflation is just getting out of control. If you look at your oil, your lumber, so many of your inputs that affect everybody, including cattle producers, your fuel is going up like crazy. Everything is just getting higher and higher and higher, and all of those inputs are going to overshadow any of the increase that we've seen in our ag commodity prices. Fertilizer's up, everything's up, and so even though it appears that we're going to get a little bit more money for ag products, whether it be grain or animal, beef or pork or something like that, it's still, you have to pay for all those more expensive inputs as you're producing that product, so it's going to get higher and higher. Let's talk about your board for last week. As you went through the week, your April live cattle spot market there, we're now in April, so should be getting pretty close now. Monday it was up 87 cents, and then Tuesday and Wednesday both unchanged. Tell you what, even your commodity people and your fund investors didn't really know what they wanted to do with it. They felt like they wanted to push it higher, but knowing that we had first notice day here today on Monday, and knowing where the cash market was, they just weren't really sure what to do with it. But then, of course, Thursday, it did back off some from pressure on everything, cattle, because of your grain prices skyrocketing on Wednesday there after that prospective plantings report. But it did go down 95 cents on Thursday. And then Friday, we got the blessing of Good Friday and your board being closed. April live cattle ended the week at 120.02. That was actually up 8 cents for the week, so it didn't have a whole lot happen there. Your June live cattle futures 122.55, up 78 cents for the week. Feeder cattle, your April spot feeders there, we were going gangbusters. You remember early in the week it was so much higher, and then Wednesday that prospective plantings report just come out of nowhere and just whipsawed everything. But from the end of the previous week through the first half of this week, man, we were going up big time. And Monday, your feeder cattle board was up $1.95. Tuesday down just a quarter, but then Wednesday, whenever your grains went up big after they said that somehow we've lost 5 million acres of corn and beans that we thought we were going to have, it's actually up a little bit from a year ago, but our prices were depressed a year ago. We knew how good the prices were going to be this year. In fact, you can contract those crops right now if you want to, and then all of a sudden, people aren't going to be planting it. I don't know where those went to. Nobody does. And likely most people are assuming that, like they've been doing and they do so often, USDA will come back in and they'll tweak and they'll adjust that. And likely will be closer to what we thought there was going to be. But like I said, we're about 5 million acres short there on your corn and beans. But down 295 Wednesday on your feeder cattle for April, and then unchanged on Thursday, which was kind of a good point there. After being down so hard, it didn't go down anymore on your spot there. Now some of your other contracts down the line did, but then closed on Friday with April feeder cattle ending the week at 143.87, down just $1.25 for the week. That's not bad whenever you gain so much on your grains and expenses and things like that. But May feeder cattle 149.22, down 65 cents for the week. Corn ended the week, it backed off of its highs on Wednesday a little bit, 559 3/4. But my gosh, that's so much higher than what we've been used to for the last many years. Beans lost about half of what they gained on Thursday after being up the lemon on Wednesday. But 1402 bushel is what your beans closed at. Kansas City wheat, which a lot of people are eyeing that, and I talked to guys here in the Texas Panhandle that have started transitioning into feeding some wheat. Not that it's that much cheaper, but we don't have to put wheels under it like we do the corn, in the Texas Panhandle here. But they are starting to feed more and more of that, and they will start getting with their feed guys and then their nutritionists and the guys that balance their rations and things, and start finding other things to put in those rations to transition away from corn because it's getting so expensive. And that'll likely make the price on it come down a little bit as we use less of it, because corn market is very, very dependent on us using a lot of it for feed. Let's talk about fats. Through Thursday, less than 40,000 head had sold, only 39,500. And we had all that play that went on Thursday, of what they were bidding and what was going on. But you didn't get that much business done. But through Thursday, 114 to 119.50 live on steers and heifers, mostly 116 to 118. The weighted average on live steers at 117.45. That was about $2 higher. And it was your trend was just different in every single area of the 5 areas there, depending on what they had last week. But basically, your fat cattle market was a couple of bucks higher on a live basis. Dress basis, about $4 higher. And that's just through Thursday. 185 to 190 on dress steers and heifers. Dress steer weighted average 188.68. Then we come in on Friday and we do about as much business as we had done all week long. Had a big Friday. Look at Iowa, 14,600 head just on Friday. just short of 24,000 for the week. 118 to 120.50. So that's going to raise your weighted average there by the time we get it all wrapped up for the end of the week. Dress trade 186 to 190. Nebraska about 7,400 head confirmed on Friday, just short of 20,000 there for the week. 118 to 121 live basis. 188 to 190 dressed. Kansas and Texas didn't have too much. Kansas about 500 head and 13,500 head for the week. 117 to 118 was the little bit of trade they had on Friday. Texas nothing. Texas, you know, through Friday, I mean, they may scrape a few around, a little cleanup deals. They only had 4,600 head confirmed for the whole week. Okay, so we're going to hit all kinds of more triggers on NCBA's voluntary 75% of a robust idea that they really haven't adopted, or they haven't made policy, because if they had, they would have already hit so many triggers that they would be supporting a minimum mandate on negotiated cash. But they're still fighting it. Both the 5014 bill and the Cattle Market Transparency Act, they're fighting both of those because evidently they don't like competitive trade, but more like it, they completely sold out to the packers. So how about trigger there? How about a trigger in Colorado? Through Friday's trade, they had confirmed sales negotiated of 700 head in the state of Colorado that has significant feedlots in it. You think that would trip a trigger that maybe something's wrong? About 400 of those happened on Friday, but just not much going on out there. How about box beef cutout values? Your packers were reaping rewards over there, but man, they hate to give it up on their buying end of livestock. But choice cuts through the week on your weighted average, all of your sales for last week, choice 246.86, up $12.08 from your weighted average of previous week. Wow. Talk about gaining ground. Even though the market was higher, they didn't give near that much up as they gained. How about selects? Your weighted average last week's trade, 239.64, up 14.37 from your weighted average from the previous week. What else is going on? Ozark and Heart of America Beefmaster breeders want to invite you to attend or view their sale that's going to be coming up this Saturday, April the 10th at Springfield Livestock Marketing Center in Springfield, Missouri. They've got a very impressive sale there of Beefmaster genetics. You can view and bid that sale on dvauction.com, but you want to try to get there if you can. They've got a heifer and bull futurity going on Friday. I'm going to give you more details as we get closer to that sale. Let's talk about, it's grass time, guys, and it's time to, if you haven't already got your stockers put together, you sure need to be thinking about it. In less than 2 weeks, they're going to be turning cattle out on the double stock pastures in the Flint Hills and the Osages in place. They'll only have 90 days to make hay, or not make hay, but put pounds on cattle out there with the double stock on there. But most of those guys have already got cattle put together. But if you've got grass and you want to turn stockers out and you need some lightweights to put on them, and you don't want to blow your brains out at some of these high reputation sales, you just want some cattle out there, well, it's time to check in with Ellis & Carter Cattle Company there in Santo, Texas, just south and west of Fort Worth. There works all them sales, got about 50 order buyers all together, working sales all over that country there, and he can ship you some cattle there. Let's see what his shippings look like towards the end of this last week. And I tell you what, sure glad that he gives us this information. Couldn't get it anywhere else. These are delivered prices of cattle that he put together early in the week, shipped late in the week, and they had a short week because they really didn't work any sales on Friday and Saturday due to Easter Sunday there. But these are delivered prices. How about steers and bulls, lightweights, bought out of Central Texas there and shipped? These are delivered prices, guys. Load of little peewees weighed 230 at $199. Some 265 steers delivered at $192. 380 pounders at $189. Now here's a load of 475 pound steers, all steers, so a little bit fancier kind, and all these ones I'm giving you right now are good enough to go anywhere. I mean, they may have a ticket here and there, and be colored up just a tick, but for the most part be solid colored, pretty good kind of cattle. 475 pounders, 172 delivered, all steers. 525 pounders, 155 delivered, and then some 555 pound steers delivered, all steers at 158.50. Some bigger steers, feeding type steers delivered, weighing 820 at 121.5. If you guys want to get in on something like that, give them a call. Ellis and Carter Cattle Company. How about some heifers? 375 pounders, 159.75, all black. How about 410 pound load of heifers delivered for 158, all black. 510 head, or 510 pounders at 148.50, they were all black. Here's a load he told me about. I think it went to one of our Feeder Flash gang members, weighed 540, 150.5, all black, nice heifers, delivered for that price to Nebraska. 622 pound load of heifers, bring 136, they were all black. How about some plain cattle? You just want some plain cattle out there that don't cost many dollars. Some 5 to 550 pounders, he had a couple of loads of them. Plainer kind, be 1.5s for sure, or he said toppy number 2s, so I hadn't heard that term for a long time. Toppy number 2s, 118 to 120, weighing in the low 5s on steers and bulls. How about some plain heifers, weighed 600 pounds, 101.50. Again, that's a delivered price. But Ellis and Carter Cattle Company, look them up on the internet there, and they've got contact information right there. How about your feeder cattle market? Your real-time index on DV auction ended the week at 141.95. That was up $4.30 on a 7-day moving average for the week. Big time gains. Of course, most all of them took place early in the week, but we still had impressive quotes coming late in the week, so it didn't hurt that much, even though our grain prices went up that much. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index is way behind that at 140.35, but the next one that comes out will get tons of cattle, unverified direct sales, and so who knows what that's going to do to things. But we're getting here, working through April now. So, but those direct sales are all faxed in. They just punch them right in. They go right in your CME feeder cattle index. Nobody checks on them. And outfits that turn them in don't turn anything in but index cattle. So it kind of makes you wonder. You know, they don't do any heifer buying or any calf buying in the country. I don't know. How about some cash feeder prices? Your weekly trends in your sale barns. Feeder cattle, $3 to $5 higher for sure. Stalker type cattle, $5 to $10 higher where they were available, and I'm talking about old crop calf weight yearlings that will absolutely take off on you when you turn them on green grass. New crop calves steady to as much as $8 higher. So good week in your sale barn trends. How about some sales late in the week? How about Friday? Winter, South Dakota, winter livestock auction. 2,500 head there. Look at this automated market report, because that's the only one you're going to see. Look at some of your best tested weights in there. 419 6-weight steers average 665, 164.28 on the average of all of them. 233 had a 7-weight steers at winter, 752 on the average at 150.64 on the average of all of them. How about 387 had a 9-weight steers? They averaged on top of 9.5 at 966 and still had a weighted average price of 132.98. That's selling them, guys. How about the best tested weights of heifers? 370 head of 6-weight heifers, average 647 at 147.46. Look at some top quotes around Fort Scott livestock market. Fort Scott, Kansas on Saturday sold 70 head, 784 pound steers at 147.50. Very impressive there. But I'm going to give top billing to a sale barn that I've never talked about before. We don't get them on Cattle Market Central. I'm inviting these people to get on with us. It won't cost you a dime, and it won't hurt you. I guarantee you it wouldn't hurt you a bit. Be able to talk about them a whole lot more. And that's Burke Livestock Auction in Burke, South Dakota. and that's the Lambley family there. I was getting quotes from all kinds of people about that sale on Friday. They had such a great sale there. The brand inspector sent me several quotes on there, and I visited with him a little bit. And he's going to try to help me get in contact with them about getting the automatic feed on our real-time market information. Another order buyer from out in the Midwest was there, and he said, oh my gosh, did they have a snappy sale. But they also had the best quote that I saw anywhere late last week. In your Zactran top quote from the day, Burke Livestock Auction in Burke, South Dakota, Peterson steers, Charolais Cross steers, 65 head of them, weighed 932 at $143. And that's your feeder flash for Monday.